Hi,
Hey,
how's it going?
good. How are you?
Yeah, hanging in there. Welcome.
Our first episode, Daniel Robinson.
Cheers.
The Yeah, cheers. Hold on. Hold on.
Pause.
Yes,
Cheers. Think.
cheers. So our first episode is Daniel Robinson, the geologist from Buckeye, Arizona. Right? He went missing, I think, back over the summer. Was it the
Yep.
summer?
Yep.
Okay.
Was the
And
summer.
I was really interested in the case because, I mean, it's Arizona. It's weird. It sounded
Literally our
suspicious right from the very
backyard.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like they never found his remains. There was a truck that was found. I don't know.
Yes.
Nicole, you did the research, so I'm
Oh, there's so
really
much on this case.
curious.
Like, and there's so much that, okay, so he went missing June 23rd. So it's basically 9 months now that he's missing, that he's been missing.
Okay.
So
Wow.
and technically he went missing on June 23rd is when he officially went missing, or like when they're saying that he officially went missing.
Okay.
Okay, so let's just back up and like, who is Daniel Robinson? So Daniel Robinson, he was born January 14th, 1997. So when he went missing, he was 24, but he's 25 now just because he's had a birthday.
Still
And
a baby.
such a baby. And he's actually born with one hand missing. But like his dad has said in many of interviews, yeah, I didn't know that fact.
Wow.
Like, yeah, his dad has
That's
said
a
in
really
many of
big detail.
interviews, yeah, like
I would
that
think
it,
that he really,
right? And like all the pictures of them, of Daniel, they don't really show. Maybe I just wasn't looking. I don't know, but they don't really show like him as like missing a hand, or maybe just because of his smile, didn't even see it, like
yeah.
and like that's basically like what his dad always said, that it was nothing that ever stopped him. Like he was always just went about life as if he had two hands, really into sports, into playing
Geologist?
music. Well, so okay, ready for this fun fact? Every freaking thing about this man says that he is a geologist, okay? If you look
Yeah.
on his LinkedIn and on his jobs LinkedIn, Matrix New World Engineering, they have him as a hydrogeologist. Okay, so
What's
a
that?
geologist is somebody who studies the earth. A
Yeah.
hydrogeologist is somebody who studies groundwater.
Oh,
Okay,
so
so
it's very different. Well,
yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, if you're talking about the desert and you're talking about that Arizona is in a major drought, and you're talking about somebody who was out there trying to find potentially, again, to this day, we don't know what Daniel was doing out there. The company
okay.
that he's worked for has never made a comment about what he was doing out there, his job for this company, and this company is in New Jersey as well.
Shut up.
Yeah, and so
Really?
if you look on the company's website, it doesn't even say anymore that they have a field office in Phoenix. Guess where it's at? Prescott. So like it doesn't even say anymore that they have a field office in Buckeye even anymore. So like there's just like these little things that I'm noticing that I'm like, I don't know. None of this is making
Nope.
sense.
Nope. It's a big fat
Yeah,
nope.
okay. So for me that was like a big, like when I was researching about him, because okay, the information that if you Google, right, just do a basic Google search on Daniel Robinson, you find out he went missing on June 23rd. He left his work site. There was a blue Jeep Renegade that was found, which you know how I feel about Jeeps, but I won't discredit him on that one. Not to mention it's a damn Renegade, but whatever, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. We'll move past it. I can get past it. But okay, so he went to work. supposedly a coworker said he was acting weird. And also, this was a coworker that he had never worked with before. So the guy really didn't even know him. I guess he
Hmm.
hung around for 15 minutes and then walked off and got in his Jeep and went off into the desert. That's all they know. Now, I was finding an article or I was watching a video on News Nation. And in this one, this was 2 months ago, the father said that there was actually someone else who found him on June 23rd or saw him on June 23rd, the day that he went missing. Lo and behold,
Really?
guess who it was? A law enforcement agent.
What?
So, right, it's a law enforcement agent. So why didn't we know about that like 9 months ago? Why was that just being reported 2 months ago? I feel like that's a
What and
like
what would they
the
say?
law
Like what would
enforcement agent was out there doing target practice with his kids. And I
huh.
guess Daniel was supposedly working there. I don't know. The law enforcement agent, the quote unquote thing that he says was that Daniel went up to him and I guess they had a long conversation. And Daniel said, "Oh, hey, I'm working here. You know, can you guys go to another area?" Showed him on a map another area that he could go and go to do target practice. And then he left and he didn't tell the law enforcement agent where he was going. And also the law enforcement agent didn't like have any like inkling of like his state of being, if he was on, because there's been talk that it's supposedly because he acted weird in those 15 minutes from this coworker that he just met, that apparently he's on drugs, which I don't know,
But if
or
that law enforcement, like you said, why would that law enforcement officer wait that long to come forward?
seven
Like, why would
months.
it be reported that, oh yeah, I saw that guy that went missing that day out there?
Right.
There's
Like
been search
why
parties. Like,
why in
there's been
all of the
volunteer search
research
parties
did I
out there.
not? Yeah, it was not talked about at all until I just heard, and it was like it wasn't even like breaking, like a video that was like breaking news on the Daniel Robinson case. It was just like a little blurb that I just so happened to listen to because I listened to the video 4 or 5 times. It was now the dad is finally saying, hey, we found somebody else
Something.
who talked to him that day. Like it was just so weird. And that just like 2 months ago. Okay. Okay. I don't know. It's just like, it's just so, there's so many holes in it. And unfortunately, like this poor father has had to hire a private investigator because it took them, guess how long it took them to find his Jeep? A month. The Jeep. Okay. And then now there's even in the research that I found, some people are saying it's 3 miles away from the work site. Some people are saying it's 5 miles away from the work site. So there's not a consistent area, but 3 miles, 5 miles. I walk 5 miles every day in the morning. It took you a month to find the Jeep. It's a blue. If you see the pictures of it, it's a bright blue in the fucking desert.
Yeah,
That doesn't make sense.
that does
That
not make
doesn't
any
make
sense.
sense.
So nobody starts like, no, that doesn't make any sense. That's
No.
strange. It's
And that
strange.
a farmer found it. They were having search parties out there every week, like from the day he went missing. How did a farmer just stumble upon it? That none of that makes sense. That does not make
No,
sense.
nope.
So they found okay, and then ready for this craziness? So let me tell you what the police found first. Okay, so the police said that it was 3 miles from the point of his work site. Okay.
Okay.
Then they said that the vehicle rolled and that the vehicle wasn't started after the vehicle was crashed. Okay. The private investigator found out that the car was found just about 5 miles from the site. Then the investigator also found that after the airbags were deployed, the vehicle drove or went further 7 to 11 miles. So meaning that the vehicle was moved after the initial accident, 7 to 11 miles. And it was restarted 46 times. So normally if
Wait,
you're in yeah, so normally if you're in a car crash, right, or something like that, and you come to, you're going to try to start the car, right? You're going to try to start the car
right.
maybe 2, maybe 3 times. 46 times this vehicle was restarted or attempted to be restarted.
Okay, so the police have ruled this suspicious, right? Like they are suspecting foul play, or what did they
No,
like?
they still don't say foul play. They just say that he's a missing person.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
I think he just wandered off into the desert.
Yeah, because all his clothes and his phone, everything, his wallet was left at the scene. And you can see it in the pictures. Like it's just like it's laying right there, like perfectly. So
I
the
think,
only theory that they have for this missing man is that he supposedly was tired when he went into work. So they thought he pulled over to take a nap and was robbed. That's the only theory they have after 9 months.
and then he just wandered off, or like,
Supposedly just wandered off. 2 months ago, it was reported that the Jeff McCarthy, the investigator that the father hired, that the search was now going into like Goodyear and to Phoenix to see if maybe he was became part of the homeless population, that maybe he hit his head, forgot who he was, wandered off. But again, he would have had to walk a very far way from that job site to then get into like to find people to then become part of the homeless population. Like
the
that just
homeless
seems
population.
really
What does that mean? Like nobody
yeah,
would
like
recognize him? Like
yeah, like he would just become a wanderer, like this guy that's been missing for 9 months. Like somebody with dark hair, you know, dark hair, dark features, and a missing hand. Like, I mean, and again, though, the biggest problem was with this case was that when he first went missing, it was when the Gabby Patia bullshit was happening. So
yeah.
he didn't get as much streamline as, he should have gotten. And they also made up like crazy things. So, I mean, this man went to the College of Charleston. He was in a fraternity. He graduated with honors. Like he was doing the damn thing. Okay. The kid was one-handed, musical instruments, football, like weightlifted. Like he was in good shape.
Yeah.
And like I guess for a while he did grocery delivery. And apparently there was this girl that he kind of fell in love with. And I guess it kind of got to a point where he was kind of stalkery, I guess, in text
Oh,
messages that came out afterwards. That was like, please leave me alone. Don't come to my house. Because I guess he showed up to her house unannounced. So the only thing
yeah.
I can think of from that is that he seems like, I mean, graduated with honors, right? Like, I'm just going to make a big assumption here. And, maybe he wasn't around girls a lot, maybe super awkward,
Yeah.
and maybe, just didn't really, he like misread I mean, he's studying, groundwater. So I don't think he's,
Yeah.
Mr. Suave is the only thing I can think of.
Right.
And, maybe she wasn't
We've all
as
known a
into
guy like
him.
that.
Yeah, yeah. And like maybe she just wasn't as into him. And then, she was trying to be
Signs
nice.
were misread.
And yeah. That's the only thing I can think of. But of course, he went, he said,
Hopefully.
supposedly said he was tired, right? So he's a stalker drug addict, is like how they're trying to like spin it and play it. And that's
Mm.
nuts.
That's
There's
always fishy
nothing.
too.
Right.
When they
Right.
start finding things to blame, like, I don't know, like, well, he's missing. He's also a stalker. So really, like, what,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know? That's
And
kind of
again, like if
bad
he,
taste.
okay, so let's say he was a stalker drug addict. Okay, let's just say that, right? Okay, so he went to work high, he was tripping at work, I don't know, had an out of body ayahuasca experience, crashed the vehicle, had to rip off all his clothes. Again, where's his
Does
body?
he have any history of that? Like, is
Because
there history?
there's nothing. You know what they did found? They found 4 to 6 other Okay, because I say 4 to 6 because some articles said 4 and some articles said 6. So 4 to 6 bodies. Bodies, other people. We have cases for days, by the way.
Buckeye Desert.
Yeah. So in the process, they could find 4 to 6 other bodies, but can't find anything. Not a tooth, not a fingernail, nothing.
Doesn't make any sense. It's fishy. It's fishy. That's what it is.
And the fact that his company hasn't come forward to not even make a comment. A few days ago, they held a vigil downtown for Daniel. And like, I don't know. I mean, the company is a woman-run company. They say it right there on their LinkedIn. So, you would hope that there would be some sort of, I don't know, little bit more pomp and circumstance to have a little bit more empathy towards their employee that's been missing for 9 months, and maybe come and make a statement, especially because he was at work when he went missing.
Yeah. Honor him.
And explain what was your company doing out there too, because it's a civil engineering company. That's their thing, is civil engineering. So okay, structures, things like that. You have a hydrogeologist, because I really am kind of very annoyed that they are saying that he's a geologist. He's not. That's studying rocks. Yeah. He didn't study rocks. He studied groundwater. That's a very different. And also, his truck was found in a ravine. Isn't someone going to understand how water works and how rocks would fall and how your vehicle would fall following groundwater, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a far connect, but.
And like you said, it was found a month later and it had been moved. Isn't that what you had said? Like, it just.
So I guess the theory. Yeah, like the theory is that there was like an initial crash, and then maybe with the weather or something like that, or somebody pushing it, the vehicle moved anywhere from 7 to 11 miles into a ravine. Because if you see pictures of the vehicle, it's like on its side. It's like it went down in the ravine and then flipped. That's what one would assume looking at it. But
and if that was
again,
him, he try to restart it, tipped upside down like that, like
46 times. And there's nothing. I mean, again, there's not a tooth, there's not a toenail, there's not a finger, there's not blood.
It's not like a
foot, arm, hair. Right. Because I mean, even if animals,
was anything in?
I'm sorry?
Was anything in the his Jeep Renegade? His Jeep, was anything in it? Like his wallet or like money or his cell phone?
His wallet and his clothes, and all of his belongings were like strung out outside of the vehicle, not in it. So like even if he like was super high, because they keep using the drug PCP, like that's the verbiage that they're using for that. And okay, so
anymore.
Maybe fucking knows. I mean,
because of that. Again, don't come at me.
Right. I mean, I guess that just shows my lack of knowledge of drugs. But I mean, okay, so yeah, so they're using he's high on PCP. He's a freaking scientist, and he went to work high off PCP to go look at some groundwater. And, he was just so high that he decided to take a nap. And then after his nap, he decided he was just going to rip off all his clothes and walk off into the sunset. Okay. Again, like, even if he did that, passed out,
he's a scientist. I'm pretty sure.
But like, even if coyotes got him, even if animals got him, there would still be a skull. There would still be bones.
There'd be something. There'd be
Something.
something. He's gone in thin air, and it's been 9 months, like you said.
Yes.
His
And then
father
there's,
is
I
still
guess
looking
there's,
for him.
yes. And there's mines around
Oh my
there
God.
that they need cadaver body, cadaver dogs to go. And the dad can't get the police to get the dogs out there.
What?
Yeah, the police are like, well, they haven't been open, so they need to open them so that way the air flows, so that way the dogs can smell. And I'm like, okay, I guess, but again, it's 9 months. Like, why wasn't that done at 6? Why wasn't that done at 4? Why wasn't that done at 1? Why did it take a month for them to even just find his vehicle? And it's 9 months, and I mean, the amount of like information that you can find on this by Googling, I had to go pretty deep to find the information that I did. And it's just all the same narrative. There's no other information out there. And you would just think that after 9 months, there would be a different narrative. They would know a little bit more. Like just 2 months ago, they found out that there was a second witness and that it's a law enforcement agent, which pisses me off even more.
That I want to know more about, because the whole thing with the police not letting. Okay, I have a theory. Let me know when we're ready for our theories. I have
Yeah,
formed a
right?
theory, and I hope it's not true, because I hope best outcome. I'm not sure what this means when they say he went into the homeless population, but I mean, that would be the best outcome, that he's still alive out there and we find him and we can reunite him with his father and he's no longer missing. Like that's what I would like to say. But unfortunately, that's not my theory. My theory would be that, well, first and foremost, I need more information about this police officer that was target practicing, because I think what could have happened is that did happen, obviously. And I think, what if he was accidentally shot and it was a fatal wound? And I've heard of cases before where it really does sound like the police department is covering something up. And I didn't think our first episode would be such a doozy of
Right?
the
No, it
case.
is.
To straight up
It's
be like,
bad.
something fucking weird is afoot over in Buckeye. I don't know. Would that be the Buckeye Police
It is the
Department?
Buckeye Police. It is
Okay.
Buckeye. And I
To
mean,
me, that's.
the dad had to hire a private investigator. Like, come
And they
on,
all let
man.
cadaver dogs go out there. Like, what is does it cost man hours? Just, I don't really understand why they can't
Right.
at least just that. I mean, do you not have enough people to support it? Like, I don't understand. Have
Yeah.
volunteers come in to take the dogs. Like,
Right?
just let it happen. It doesn't sit well with me. I've heard cases before that's my theory, is that unfortunately I think there was something horrible happened. I think they took, the police officer may have panicked and then placed it there on it. I think something's awry. I don't know, maybe not that police officer, I don't know, but
Yeah.
something's awry. Something strange.
Well,
There was foul play.
it's strange that the company is so quiet too. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
and he
I
was
just
out
think of
there
if
with
someone,
someone.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
like if one of my employees went missing, I would be out there every week trying to find them too. Like it,
Right.
and I didn't have anything to do with it, or I didn't know more than I should, or I didn't, like I would be out there. And the fact that in all of the research that I've done, like I would say a whole somebody's work life hours that I've done for this, that's all the information that I was able to find. I have not found one statement, one news article that says anything from Matrix New World Engineering. Like they have not said a peep.
And I forgot, Kenny, you said that he went out there with someone that he hadn't normally regularly worked with, right?
Yeah,
But
that
they're not
the
saying
coworker
why they
that
were out
saw
there at the
him.
job site. So, like, okay, so
Yeah,
that's
that's shady
strange.
too.
The whole thing just stinks. It stinks like Not good. Not good.
And I just
It's
don't know
rotten.
why the news people dropped the hydrogeologist. I think that's really important, you know? I mean, why is he
What he
gotta
worked
just be
for.
a geologist? Because literally on his LinkedIn, it says hydrogeologist. On Matrix New World Engineering, it says hydrogeologist. And I mean, I guess it's really not like that big of a
Lazy
deal.
reporting.
Yeah,
Lazy reporting is what it is. It's
I
lazy.
mean, well, maybe it's not that big of a deal, and maybe it's just an inkling that I'm looking at. But like, I mean, if my company, if my employee was misquoted wrong with what they did for my company, I would want to make sure that people knew what this person actually did for my company. And that
Yeah.
would be important to
Yeah.
me.
Right.
But maybe that's just holding on to, whatever little dear information I can find. But
Yeah.
again, the information that is out about this case is so minimal compared to Gabby Petito or just any other missing case that I've begun to research. You're just inundated with information. With this one, I'm not. There's not a lot out there, and it's a lot of the same repeating information too.
It pays to be a white woman, unfortunately. And if you go
Uh,
missing, you have a higher chance of being found. That's
Absolutely,
honestly, that's
yeah.
sucks. It's shitty. It's not right. It's not okay.
Mm-mm.
Um, and
Nope,
yeah, that really sucks.
it
Um,
does. It's disappointing.
this case, this case always really it interested me a lot, just because I don't know. Maybe it's because we live in Arizona. Like I don't know if that's why or not. And we're familiar with that desert. You know what I mean? Like, so it struck really close to home, I guess. And then also being a parent too, I think, you know what I mean? Like, could you imagine like looking for your kid like that? Like, what? His poor father. Like, that's just what I keep thinking about. Like, if you know something and you're out there, please report it. Like, figure
Yes,
it out. Like, if you have seen this, if you have seen Daniel, do something.
right.
Because Jesus, like, bring him
Yeah,
home to his father. Give his father and his family peace. Like,
right. Yeah, they do. They still are doing these searches. And then they
okay.
do have a website. So please find Daniel.com. All that information is on there, as well as you can, even if you just want to donate to the cause and help, because I know that I'm sure, like, his father just dropped everything, came to New Jersey. I think, just right after a few days after he was gone. Yeah, it was heart-wrenching to watch that last YouTube video that I watched on News Nation. It was about 2 months
Try not
ago.
to cry.
I know it was hard not to listen to him cry, because it was basically, he goes, I understand that right now, this is probably just a survivor, search, the fact that whether he's alive or not, I don't really know. But that his hope is that he's in the homeless population. And I'm just like, oh God, that breaks my heart.
That's the
He turned
hope. I
20.
mean, I guess.
Yeah, and he just turned 25, like, looking at his
Yeah.
LinkedIn, it's like it's his LinkedIn has the college that he went to, and then it has his job. And like that's
And
it.
he was a scientist by 25. I mean, I didn't really even get my life together until I was like almost 30, and I still don't really have my life together.
Still not there.
So
Still not there.
that's
I'm just pretending.
amazing,
Right. So I mean,
right?
screw it if he was on PCP. Let the kid go to work on PCP. Jesus.
That's why I have like I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's just so easy, right? It's just so easy to say the one person that's missing, is the person that is the problem, or is the person that, it's like, when the one friend that doesn't show up to breakfast, it's like, well, they didn't want to come. Like, no,
Right.
it's not their fault. It's not their fault. And you know, these ones always really get me because, you know, like we've discussed, like I wanted to start this podcast because I wanted to help people to feel safe to go out by themselves if they want to, you know. And it's when I do these cases and looking at this information, you know, I always want to find a why, like what happens. Because the first thing that people ask me when I tell them that I go on solo trips, they're like, aren't you scared? And the answer is no, I'm not scared. And that's such a privilege to not be scared. And I want to you know, look at these cases and see, where does it go wrong? Like how can we, how where do you find the misstep? Because there's so many times that I've gone out and, you know, knock on wood, I haven't gone missing yet, but like how does this happen? How does this
Right.
young man who is in a bright blue Renegade and is less than 5 miles from his job site go missing? I've been out, not even in cell service, 20 miles out for days. I mean, you know, it's a Jeep Renegade, but it'll get him back home no matter what. He could have flipped that and gone back home. Like it could have happened. If he got that Jeep upright and he had fluids in his vehicle, which if it was his work truck, he should have. The job site should have made sure that he had everything he needed. So he could have flipped that, got that thing back, you know, going and got home. So it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
And you know, he took a nap and got robbed and walked off into the sunset. That doesn't make sense either, because then we would find his body. Even if it was a suicide. Even if he just said, fuck it, I'm going.
Right. And again, like if animals would have gotten to any remains or anything like that, there would be remains left. Like, I don't know. It's really strange. I was hoping that you're going to come on here and have like, this is what happened to him. You know what I mean? Like, I knew we were going to be theorizing somewhat tonight, but this really is just full on what happened to Daniel.
We got nothing. We got pleasefindDaniel.com is what we got. And there's got to be some people that know more. There just has to be. I mean,
I'm sure there's going to be more stuff coming out. We'll be updating on this case for sure. I feel like.
Oh yeah, for sure in June when it's the 1 year. And I'd really like it if there was someday that our little Valley of the Lost community would go together and we could try to go for a search or something, because he's out there. He's out there for sure. And it's kind of crazy. Like, yeah. And it's kind of crazy, like the comments on like some of the articles or some of the YouTube, it's clairvoyants that are like, I spoke to Daniel, he's here.
What? No way.
Yeah. And a lot of them say, I'm 4 miles east of where the truck was. That's what they all say.
Shut up.
I'm 4 miles east of where the truck was.
Shut up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So whether he's buried there or I don't know, you know.
I just heard my cat meow and it scared me so bad.
Yay, we did it. Oh, we did a good story then. We did a good story if you got scared.
That was the way you ended it with freaking mediums. Oh. Well, I mean, honestly, again, I hope he's in the homeless population. I also don't really know what that means, like the homeless population.
That he just became like a wanderer.
Yeah, it just sounds really bad, like just a drug addict. Like, I feel like the homeless get such a bad reputation here in Arizona too, as like drug addicts, as alcoholics, and yes, it does happen. It happens. But a lot of them are veterans. A lot of them have been like given up on like Medicaid and Medicare because of the loss of funding and whatnot, and are now on the streets because they can't take care of themselves or even find a job. So
Right.
when I hear things like that, I really get offended because I highly doubt someone like Daniel, who again, when he first went missing, there were search parties. Like, I highly doubt he would
80
go
to
unnoticed.
200. They have an average of 80 to 200 people that show up every time.
I highly doubt that he's just hanging out in the homeless population somewhere in what, like down like Buckeye, like in the city of Buckeye. Is there a town of Buckeye? I don't even know. Like, Buckeye's weird.
Yeah, there is, but
Sorry,
it's come up a long way. I mean, there's, you know, they got a Wally World and a Jack in the Box and stuff out there now. So like, I mean, if he wandered up into the Jack in the Crack, like, and got some tacos, I think somebody would notice.
Somebody would notice. Yeah, Buckeye's weird. Santan's weird. Santan's a weird place.
I mean, clearly Arizona is weird with all these damn missing people. We're in a vortex of people
Mesa's the
just
coolest.
I mean, and it's not just his fault that he drove a Renegade, you know? I mean, maybe they take other people too. I can't let it go. I seriously can't let it go. When I was researching it, and I was like, a Jeep Renegade? Fuck, man. Of all ones that we have to start off with. Yeah, so that's what I got. Daniel Robinson, still missing. Please find Daniel.com. His father is a incredible human. He is always, every article that I've read about him and every video I've watched of him, he handles himself with such pride and confidence. And he is never vicious or mean. He's extremely kind to all the anchors. And even though he is displeased with how the investigation has gone, he's still extremely respectful, which as a parent watching him, you know, I would be like, fuck y'all! Oh, where's my
For real, that'd be a freaking disaster.
Yeah. So, you know, the fact that he has handled himself just so well, it's very admirable to watch. So definitely something we can all, at least if anything, we learn that from this case too. So that's what I got. Eek!
Good job.
Well,
First,
hopefully it didn't suck, guys.
yeah, as we get more episodes, don't listen to the first episode.
Right? Even though it's the best case, but don't listen to the episode.
Yeah, it's an amazing case. You should definitely listen to it. I was joking, but don't judge us. This is our first episode. We are learning. We are excited to do this. We want to really bring light to the victims. We want to tell their stories. We want to stay safe and still be able to go out, which you're a badass. You're a bad bitch for going out on your own. I am a scared little baby.
It's okay. We're going to work on that, and we're going to, I'm so excited for the times that when you and I can go out and we can record episodes out in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Okay, what's in store for us next Tuesday?
Give
us a preview.
The Phoenix serial shooters. They terrorized Phoenix and the Mesa and the East Valley from 2005 to 2006, and it also happened along the same time as the Baseline Killer. I don't know if anyone remembers that. That was the year I graduated. And I remember being terrified. Like, the shooters. Oh, so my preview for next week is I lived across the street from the shooters, not in the same apartment complex. I lived in a house with like my parents, obviously, down the street. But like, it was like literally across the way. Like, you could, if you went into the backyard, you could see the apartments like from where we lived at. So that was like, when I realized that, I didn't know that until I started researching it. I was like,
that's insane. Crazy. Okay, well, that's a good preview for next week then.
Yeah. So lots of good stuff.
Okay, well, if you guys liked this episode, make sure that you leave a comment in your review section. That really helps us to grow, as we are a baby podcast. And you guys can check us out on YouTube. right? And YouTube, Valley of the Lost podcast, Instagram, Valley of the Lost Instagram. All right, till next week. Bye.
Bye.